This is the Retirement Bullpen with Richard Warner. The team at Warner Financial Solutions want to help you feel confident about your retirement, no matter where you stand. Get more at warnerfinancialsolutions.com. Now, the Retirement Bullpen.
I've got a jaw dropper for you. Americans shell out over $950 billion. Yes, I said billion with a B during the holiday season. And with all that merry spending, December isn't just about gifts and glitter. It is actually your golden opportunity to give your finances a checkup before the new year kicks in. Today on the Retirement Bullpen, our host, Richard Warner, walks us through an essential end-of-year checklist to make sure your retirement plan is ready for 2026. From tax strategies to portfolio adjustments, this episode is packed with tips you don't want to miss. Richard is an investment advisor representative, certified retirement income professional, and owner of Warner Financial Solutions. You can learn more at warnerfinancialsolutions.com. Richard, how are you?
Alyssa, I am doing great. How are you today?
Doing wonderfully. It's my favorite time of year. I readily, contribute to the $950 billion spent in American shopping.
Don't we all?
I am a big fan. It's my favorite time of year, so I'm thoroughly enjoying it. But as I said in the intro, it's also a great time to make sure everything's in order for next year, which is, maybe for people such as myself, not the fun part, but, making sure all of the to-do lists on the financial standpoint are checked off. So that's why we have you to hold us accountable, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna do my best with that today. There's all kinds of directions you can go with that topic. So I agree with you, though. This is a great time of year, except where I live, it can get really cold. It's really interesting. Today that we're doing this recording, it's going to be in the 50s here, but I think tomorrow it's going to be like 19. Or something to that effect. I think the high actually tomorrow is going to be about 1 a.m. in the morning.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
oh my goodness.
From the cool down from today. So today's nice. But tomorrow and the next few days, not looking so, but not snow, just cold.
Right.
Which we
That's
get that
the worst.
We get that
I'd rather have the snow. If it's going to be cold, I want a little bit of snow with it. Otherwise, you're bundled up and it's cold and everything looks dead. Nothing's green and blooming.
Yeah. I know what you mean. I know what you mean by that. So
talk to me about some of the end of year items that you wish more clients would prioritize as they finish up a year.
So the first thing we'll bring up is your retirement accounts. Obviously, most people listening probably work for a company. And if they are self-employed, they probably have some sort of a retirement account set up, a 401k, a 403b, some kind of deferred comp type of plan. A lot of times folks don't realize how much they can actually put into those accounts on a tax deferred, if it's a pre-tax account, or on a after tax, if it's a Roth version of that account. They start out, and this is good planning, is you want, especially when you're working for an employer and they're giving you free dollars, you want to max that out. So if you're not maxing that out, I would encourage you, if you have any way at the end of the year, to get enough dollars into that plan so you can at least get the full match from your employer. But after they get the full match, a lot of people go in a lot of different directions with where they should put funds and that sort of thing. And there's some planning involved depending upon your situation. But sometimes you get to the end of the year, maybe you get a bonus, maybe you have some extra income, maybe you ended up with more than you thought. And what a lot of folks do is they just pack that into savings. They pack it into savings, and that savings can create more taxable income the next year. And the next year, you're not getting a tax deferred basis on that. You're not getting any growth. You can actually put more money into your 401k plan or deferred comp plan than you realize. So I would really encourage individuals to check with their specific plan. Obviously, there's going to be variances depending upon the plan they have, how much income they can put in. Their income is also a factor in that, what their income is, the plan. So I don't want to try to get it down that road of all those different potential things, because that's a 30-minute conversation by itself, possibly.
Sure.
But your HR department or your facilitator of your plan, if say you're self-employed, is going to be able to tell you, you can do this much if you wanted to. And you could put more in and you could get a tax deduction. That could create some tax savings for you, maybe a better tax return next spring. It could create all kinds of different things for you as far as that goes. So if you do have that extra income, you're packing extra money into savings, I would definitely encourage you to look into, can I put more away now that we're at the end of the year?
One of the things that you mentioned in that, in terms of having more income, is, potentially, hopefully, you're getting a bonus at the end of the year. I know one of the strategies that we hear people talk about when it comes to tax planning is the idea of deferring income to the next year. Oh, I'm going to get a Christmas bonus, but that might push me over, into a different tax bracket for this year, and I want a little more time to plan accordingly. What are your thoughts on deferring unexpected income?
If you can do it, again, not every company and plan is going to allow you to.
Sure.
A lot will. If you can do it. If you're self-employed, you probably can find a way to do it. If you work for an employer, it's going to depend upon the rules of the plan. But it's worth checking. If you don't need the funds, what a lot of people do is they take the money, they pay more taxes, and then they stick it into a savings account, and you're not generating a great return. And as that savings account grows over your life, it creates more taxable income that you're also not getting a great return on. So you're not even keeping all of that poor return you're getting because you're getting taxed on it every single year. Yes, you want an emergency fund, but there comes a certain point. Am I getting enough benefit out of that fund? Excess dollars past that, you want to put away somewhere else where you can get more benefit of it. So yes, I would definitely look into deferring that into something like your 401k if you have some room to add to your contributions. So definitely something to check on.
And certainly coming to the end of the year and, of course, thinking about tax strategy, one of the hot topics is always a Roth conversion. Talk to me about your thoughts on that. Are we past the window? Is it too late? How do you know if it's right for you?
So right now, yes, it is getting to the point of too late. Simply not because you can't necessarily pull it off, but because custodians get a lot of requests. So they usually have cutoff points, typically the first or second week of December. So technically when we're recording this, you could pull it up. Yeah, you were kind of right on it. But by the time you hear this, it might be too late. But if nothing else, this is something that you can understand for next year. So what is a Roth conversion? Well, you have funds in a pre-tax account, and you might be getting to the point where it's looking like your income later on in life, specifically retirement, or maybe you're right at the doorstep of retirement and you're seeing, hey, my income needs is going to be similar to what I'm bringing in now. My tax bracket's going to be very similar. I have all this money that's never been taxed. I'm going to create a really high tax situation in retirement if I begin converting. So again, taking some of that pre-tax money, converting it to a Roth, paying the taxes now, letting it defer. That tax deferred growth will come out tax-free once you've had a Roth for 5 years. So that can be very advantageous for a person. Sometimes when you're still working, this can be difficult because you're paying a really high bracket to convert. Sometimes people have to wait till that first year of retirement. So if you're in retirement, though, this is definitely something good to look at, especially with some of the new tax laws and the higher standard deductions and that sort of thing. You can actually get a little bit more bang for your buck on your conversion, if you will, starting this year in 2025, and it will continue 26 and 27 and 28 if you're 65 and older and retired. Don't necessarily have to be drawing Social Security or not, but you can definitely get a little bit more bang for your buck as far as that goes. So it's something you want to look into. Again, maybe a little late for 2025, but you could start considering this for 2026. Ideally, you want to start this probably in November, planning this. That's what I do with most of our clients is we're looking at this in November. Does this make sense? You don't want to start too early, though, because you start doing it in January and February. Something may happen in June and create more taxable income that you didn't even think was a possibility. And then your whole conversion, the benefit of it gets thrown out the window.
Which is why it's so important to have that conversation because, as we say often, every individual situation is different and what works for you might not work for somebody else and vice versa.
Correct.
And certainly talking about 401ks, we can't talk about that topic without then the good old RMDs. Some people, might just be hitting 73 for the first time and it's the first time they're seeing an RMD. They have a little bit different set of rules. You can talk about that, but how should people be approaching RMDs?
Well, if you are 73 this year or past that age, 74 this year or older, you need to take an RMD out. You will be penalized, potentially 25% penalty on top of your tax if you don't get it out. You need to have that out by the last day of this month, not just receive the check, but the check literally has to be out and cashed. So electronic deposit in this scenario is very, very ideal. If you do not have that check deposited or that required minimum distribution deposited into your account before January 1st, they're going to penalize you on top of the taxes. And that's almost a 25%. And in a lot of cases, it is a 25% tax. Used to be much higher. They have reduced that, but it is still a pretty stiff penalty for not taking money out because the IRS, they say it is just the rules. You got to get it out at a certain point. Now, if you're turning 73 this year, you actually don't, from an IRA, have to take it out by the end of this year, but you have to pull that RMD by April of next year. And then you have to pull it
only for somebody turning 73
this year. Yes. You're also going to have to pull another one by the end of the year for that year as well. So if you wait till April to do this year's, you're going to have to do 2 next year, which can create more taxes than you want because depending upon how much you're pulling out, that can raise your tax bill significantly, can affect your Social Security taxation, and can create a lot more taxes than you want. So probably you want to pull your RMD like 99% of the time. People want to pull their RMD. There's just very I don't even want to probably use an example, but there's very few examples where it makes sense, in my opinion, in my experience, to defer the year you're 73 to next year. There are some. It's typically involved with still working and that sort of thing. But if you're 73, you've been retired for a few years, get that RMD out. Now, there are some ways to do it. Charitable gifts is a very, very big one. And a lot of people don't know about this. You still probably have time to set this up depending upon your custodian if you haven't. If you can't get this done this year, definitely look into it for next year. But you can do what's called a qualified charitable distribution or a QCD. If you currently give to a 501c3, anyway, a lot of people do, and it just has to be a 501c3. It doesn't have to be any sort of type of 501c. They just have to be under the IRS code of a true nonprofit 501c3. You can set up a qualified charitable distribution where instead of you getting your RMD, you giving money away, you have that RMD or a portion of that RMD go directly to the charity. It counts towards your minimum requirement, but it completely avoids you being taxed on it. So you get the benefit of the standard deduction, as most people take every year. You get the benefit of meeting your required minimum distribution. You get the benefit of giving to your charitable entity that you want to help support. And you kind of get a double savings in tax, assuming you are taking the standard deduction. So it's a great, great strategy if you are giving funds away anyways. Now, if you're not giving funds away, it's not necessarily something you want to do, but a lot of people do. And it's a great way to get yourself a little incentive for giving it away is less tax for you.
So when you're talking that you're getting that, quote, double tax incentive, you're saying that by giving away straight from the 401k, I'm not getting taxed on that. So that money is not included as my income. So if I give $1,000, that's $1,000 off my income that I don't have to claim and pay taxes on. And I'm paying with it with pre-tax money versus I've made my withdrawal and then I'm going to pay my $1,000 to that same charity, but that's with after tax.
Because once you take the withdrawal and the RMDs in yours, you're adding that $1,000 to your taxable income. And so a lot of people used to itemize. And so the confusion is I can itemize that gift, but now with the standard deduction, people don't. And so what the charitable, the QCD allows you to do is you don't have to worry about itemizing. It can just go directly to the entity. So you don't actually put it on your 1040 form. That $1,000 distribution that was coming to you goes now to 501c3. And you don't actually put it on your 1040 form. So yeah, you pretty much had it. You nailed it. So
okay. Well, good. I'm learning then.
Yes. It is a really good strategy. I have a lot of clients that participate in it just because it's something they were going to do anyway. So why put it on your 1040 form if you don't have to?
Absolutely. Well, as we have this conversation, it's a great reminder that the one other factor that people really should consider is now is a great time of year to set up that meeting. Even if it's not before the end of December, it's a reminder, let's get the appointment on the calendar for January. If someone's listening and they want to reach out and they go, okay, it's been a little too long since I sat down, had a conversation with you, or maybe they're looking for an advisor to have that initial conversation, how can they reach you and what can they expect in that initial consultation?
So the best two ways are go to our website, warnerfinancialsolutions.com. You can request us to reach out to you, or the simplest way is to call. Just call me directly. 402-274-9185. Give me a call and we will set up a time. And what we will do in that very first appointment is we will sit down face-to-face, or maybe even just do this through a phone call. Sometimes people are more comfortable for a 15, 20, 30-minute phone call just to get some ideas of what we can potentially help you with. And it will be an opportunity to fact find, to figure out what it is you're concerned about, what it is you have questions about, what is it that we can potentially do to help you. And then we can dig a little deeper into that and see if there's some ways we can reduce taxation for you. Are there some things you're not doing that you should be doing for next year? Sure. And the sooner you find these things out, you may not be able to fix it for 2025, but you can definitely fix it for
2026 strong.
Exactly.
Well, as the new year wraps up, take the time to gift yourself a strong financial plan. And you can do so by heading on over, as Richard said, to warnerfinancialsolutions.com to schedule that complimentary no obligation consultation. And of course, be sure to subscribe wherever it is that you're listening so that you never miss a future episode. We talk about all sorts of things. I'm sure starting in the new year, we're going to dive into what the new year has to offer. But in the meantime, we wish everyone listening a very joyful holiday season and a prosperous new year. Richard, it's always a pleasure.
It has been a pleasure for me as well. Have a great day.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Warner Financial. Warner Financial is also an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Warner Financial are not subject to investment advisor requirements. NPN number 7617022. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be considered as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual's situation. Warner Financial is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Warner Financial. Please remember that converting an employer plan account to a Roth IRA is a taxable event. Increased taxable income from the Roth IRA conversion may have several consequences. Be sure to consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding your IRA. IPW provides services without regard to political affiliation, and the views of the individual advisors are not necessarily the views of IPW.